Come on, Denise.
You throw like a girl.
Okay, next, let's go. Yep. Oh, he's gone for the terrible one. Oh! Now that's 2 balls. That's 2 balls.
So with it being the 20th anniversary of Fire Walk With Me, I think I'm going to ask some questions about that, but it's always good to start with a series. And I'm going to start with Catherine. Thanks so much for coming back. There's a microphone there, by the way, which I think you're probably going to have to share between all 3 of you. So yes, thanks so much for coming back. I want to start with a question for you to take it right back to the beginning. We all know the story about David Lynch, and I'll test my log with every branch of knowledge. I don't think I've ever heard how you reacted when he actually came to you, what was it, 15, 20 years after the first suggestion of this, and said, this is actually going to happen. I mean, did you believe that it would actually happen? Do you think he was crazy?
I never think anything David Lynch says is crazy, of course. But I think it was about 13 years maybe after we finished Erased.
Sort of roughly the same thing, how you got involved in Twin Peaks, who called you, how you felt when you got it?
I got it in a very normal way. My agent setting up the audition and me going in, and gosh, I'm trying to remember what the audition was like. I don't think I read lines.
No.
There weren't any lines to read, right? No.
He never reads lines. He just talks to you.
He talks to you and asks you about yourself, and I don't think there was any monologue or anything like that. Just asking you about yourself, and you're just talking, and my picture that you take, you know, and that your agent sent over, had my maiden name on it, Phoebe Augustine, and I went in and I told him, well, that's what my picture says, but I just got married, so I'm going to use my married name now. And he said, no. That's how much he controls his vision, you know. He liked the name Augustine, and I think I did get it just from talking to him and like my last name or me or something. So, and I was very excited because I was already a big fan.
Yeah.
You want to tell them the story about you and Cheryl Lee?
Oh.
Yes. Tell us a story about you and Cheryl.
It's pretty short. So, after the audition, or whatever you want to call it, they kept me there, and they kept Cheryl Lee there, and they said, okay, you guys, come here, we need to ask you something. So Cheryl Lee and I are standing there, and they said, okay, so we have 2 parts and 2 girls, and we just need to find out, do either one of you have a problem with nudity? And I don't know,
But I read, or I heard recently an interview with you where you said you actually knew nothing about it. So, I mean, how was it for you? Had you already got the part? You'd already gone to a casting and you actually watched the show. What did you actually think when you saw it? And it was this insane thing.
Yeah, I didn't know. Thanks. It was completely new to me. I mean, I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen it. And so they sent the VHS tapes, dating myself, up to the house, and I watched everything there was to watch, and I saw these 2 gorgeous things, and thought, you know, this is not what television was the last time I tuned in, and signed me up. Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't know it, and so I was very excited to try to enter that world and be a contributor, a little small cog in the wheel.
How was the... Did he know that the series was going to die, and was that quite painful?
I don't think he ever thought of it as dying. I think he just thought he would make a mini-series that would have a beginning, middle, and an end. That was his original thought. And then he liked the long form of television, longer than a feature film, but not something that would go on forever. So he didn't really plan on it going on a lot longer, and he had Wild at Heart to do. So he left it in capable hands. And but I think he felt that he had run the course of the story pretty much. He wanted to tell a story about this town and about these people. And so when it was over, I think David was ready for, he had always thought it would be over, probably a little sooner than it was over. But then the demand for the prequel, which we're going to see, right, was so strong. How did these people come to be that he really got into the making of the prequel, A Fire Walk with Me. So I think he's a guy who lives in the now. Let's put it that way. And I think his meditation, and you all know about the David Lynch Foundation now, he's doing this amazing work with veterans and abused people with transcendental meditation. That kind of way of thinking. He has never missed a meditation since we started in the early 70s when we were very small children.
Did he know that the series was going to die, and was that quite painful?
I don't think he ever thought of it as dying. I think he just thought he would make a mini-series that would have a beginning, middle, and an end. That was his original thought. And then he liked the long form of television, longer than a feature film, but not something that would go on forever. So he didn't really plan on it going on a lot longer, and he had Wild at Heart to do. So he left it in capable hands. And but I think he felt that he had run the course of the story pretty much. He wanted to tell a story about this town and about these people. And so when it was over, I think David was ready for, he had always thought it would be over, probably a little sooner than it was over. But then the demand for the prequel, which we're going to see, right, was so strong. How did these people come to be that he really got into the making of the prequel, A Fire Walk with Me. So I think he's a guy who lives in the now. Let's put it that way. And I think his meditation, and you all know about the David Lynch Foundation now, he's doing this amazing work with veterans and abused people with transcendental meditation. That kind of way of thinking. He has never missed a meditation since we started in the early 70s when we were very small children.
So I was thrilled, yeah.
So, you might know that I stopped acting quite a while ago. And my husband and I lived in LA, and then we'd run away to Alaska, and that's where we were. And when David tracked me down, or somebody did, Joanna, what's her name? Joanna Ray. Called somebody who knew I was up there, called up there, found somebody who knew me up there, knew where I was going that day. So here I am at the chiropractor's office, in the room where you get your adjustment and stuff, and the receptionist comes in, Phoebe? I said, yes. She said, David Lynch is on the phone for you. I couldn't take it up in the front. So I just went behind her desk, hello? It was David. And we talked for 10 or 15 minutes maybe, because I had sort of run away. And he just talked me into coming back. And I told him, I said, it's only ever just bad stuff happens to me. It's always so bloody, ugly and everything. And he's, okay, how about if I give you an angel? Will you do it if I give you an angel? And so I said, oh yeah, okay, good. So,
I mean, the character is obviously a much bigger deal in Fire Walk With Me than she ever was in the series. So how did you kind of go about developing and exploring the person that she was before she went into a coma? That experience in your head. Whoever wants to start, go nuts.
first get it over with.
Sure.
I remember Deepak trying to hurry David along because he was taking too long, sitting in the little cabin with us, with me and Shirley and what are their character names? Leo and Jacques, telling us stories for a really long time.
Can you remember any of the stories?
I remember one about some Russian neighbors or something. I hope I'm remembering this right. And he look out his window, and he was looking out the window, and he saw this little kid running, and then disappear, and then appear again. Continue like just he went in another dimension for a few seconds. Stories like that.
Good story.
Yeah. I forgot that we were there to work for a little bit.
So that's what the assistant director was having trouble with. Yeah.
Right, because we were there to work. We were just in there for a really long time.
I remember David drawing this little tattoo on my leg. And it was like two little peaks. And it was, I think it was when I was abducted by aliens. And there was all this oil with like matted hair. Was that in the show? Is it fun? Is it in the show? Yeah. I haven't seen it for a while. I can hardly wait to go home and watch it. I got the box set, so I'm going to watch it. And it was the same kind of oily substance that we used in the underneath the radiator in Eraserhead, the lady in the radiator. Oh, it was tar. Oh my God, there's a theme. That's what it is. It's a tar theme. Okay, we'll think about this and write him a little note. But I do remember his actually drawing it and then saying, now don't wash your leg, Cap. So I didn't, because I guess they thought they might do reshoots or close-ups or something. So I had this little tattoo on my leg that he had drawn for quite a long time. And I think that's a significant memory. Do you have one, Lenny?
Yeah, well, I've told it many times because for me it so distinguishes Mr. Lynch. I was called about 6 a.m. On the day of shooting in Fire Walk With Me, and we did not go on the floor until 2 a.m. So that's a long wait. And Cheryl and I, well, she especially, because she's got so much to do, we're pretty much toast by 3:30 a.m. or whatever. And David screams across the entire studio to Deepak, the AD, Deepak, never schedule the most important scene in the movie for 3:30 a.m. Now that's how you get two very tired actors up for, you know, a job. And then this is even more quintessential David. At the end of all of that, we did it, and it kind of, you know, flew against the walls, and we were done, and we were jello. And out of the corner of my eye, I see a sort of tall leprechaun version of a jig, and it was David. And he was, at that hour, doing this little dance to celebrate, I guess, what had happened, that something had happened. It wasn't, right, let's move on. He was acknowledging what we were trying to do, and that's very rare. And, you know, so is he. So, perfect.